In the last couple of days, there have been emerging issues posing questions on Nigeria's leadership, accountability, and social responsibility. Today on the show, we are going to be discussing and sharing insights on and opinions across three important stories that have been bringing conversations up, questioning the state of Nigeria's leadership, social responsibility, and political state. From the story of Abba Kyari's acquittal to Very Dark Man, Sheyi Tinubu, and the Civil Society Council saga, to the statement by former President of Nigeria, Olusegun Obasanjo, at his 89th birthday party. All these and more we would be talking about on the show today. My name is Betty Idowu, and of course, you know I do not always do this alone. I've got with me a guest, a very, very learned and expressive guest in person of Comrade Musa Aliu. You're welcome to the studio, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us once again. He's a part of the family. I think it's safe to call you family. You're more than a guest now.
No problem. Thank you very much.
Okay, so straight to today's conversation. Starting with the story of Abba Kyari. It was said that suspended Deputy Commissioner of Police Abba Kyari, once known as a super cop for leading major crime operations, was acquitted by a federal high court in Abuja on a 23-count charge of alleged asset non-declaration. The court ruled that prosecutors failed to prove that the properties and funds listed in the case actually belonged to him, leading to this discharge. However, he's still facing separate drug-related trial involving the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, and the ruling has sparked debate nationwide, as some see this as a justice system not working well due to lack of evidence. Others believe that cases involving powerful figures often raise deeper questions, because this is a case that has been going on since 2022, and now his acquittal is coming in 2026 based on the fact that there was no concrete evidence. Now to you, sir, do you think that the acquittal of Abba Kyari reflects strength of the Nigerian justice system, or it just raises concern about political influence and accountability in high-profile cases?
Thanks once again for having me. You see, this Abba Kyari case, just like it has been decided, is one of the lows we experience when it comes to the administration of criminal justice. I'm an advocate and, of course, the coordinator of Civil Society Observatory on the administration of criminal justice in Nigeria. I can tell you authoritatively that there are a lot of loopholes when it comes to criminal justice prosecution processes in this country than any other place. We have a lot of encumbrances. And one thing we believe is that if justice is not dispensed according to the rule of law, automatically there are going to be issues. And Nigeria as a country will not be so proud to talk within the Committee of Nations. If you look at the general atmosphere when it comes to the administration of criminal justice in Nigeria, one of the loopholes that vividly reflects in the Abba Kyari's case, as we have it right now, is the fact that the Nigerian prosecuting environment does not give room for thorough investigation before you even made your arrest. This is the more reason why most of the arrests made at the end of the day, they will tell you that the case is of no value. Because on what ground? Who did this investigation in the first instance? For this kind of property, after 4 years of legal gymnastics, could not be adequately traced to the rightful owner. So that shows that we are actually trampled on the face of the advil in this country. That is one. Then two, there must be a concise timeline when it comes to the prosecution of criminal cases of this nature. So we keep wondering, which kind of case are we prosecuting for 4 years, for goodness sake? This shows that something is wrong with our justice system. And again, one thing we have to understand is that we cannot keep doing the same thing the way it has been done in the past and expect a different result. In as much as we are looking for way forward, one thing Nigeria must do is that we have problem. We have problem in our courts. And these problems are best solved by those we have put in the leadership offices. What do I mean by this? When it comes to the courts, you need to take a trip to any of our high courts or any other place and see what our judges are passing through. There are provisions within the law, but are we really using them, those provisions? If it comes to the prosecution, if it comes to the arrest, if it comes to even to the discharge, are we really following the provisions of all these things? So all this cumulated into what we witnessed. This is not the first of such cases going
long
just like that.
process.
We have a lot of cases like that. After 4 or 5 years of situation, they will tell you that the case does not have a local standing. This is not how to be a country that people can take serious. So we have to do that. Not only that, just take a trip to the High Court, just like I mentioned, and look at what judges are passing through. It is only in Nigeria now. I still want to be corrected that judges write in long handwritings judgments. They'll keep writing. Da, 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 da. What are they writing? Well, there are technologies that can stop
Made
it.
it easier.
These are the things we have to do. And in the administration of criminal justice, there are provisions for most of these things. But to procure, who is responsible for procurement? Nobody. These are the questions. And not only that, even at the level of prosecution, when the police bring up a case to the judiciary, how diligent are they following up? One thing I believe in is that we have to keep upping our game by ensuring that you don't just arrest and start looking for evidences the way we have it now.
You're supposed to have the evidence.
You're supposed to have the evidence before. You're supposed to have the evidence at least ample of times. Test all your evidences against every doubting Thomases before you start the arrest. But here, they will arrest first and now look for evidence against you. Is that normal? Is that how to run a country? Is that how justice system works?
Wow, that's a lot. Now, this acquittal, what does it really mean? Does it mean he's free? Because looking at the fact that he still has other cases to be tried for with the NDLEA, what does this acquittal actually mean?
As far as the issues that have been discussed and ruled upon is concerned, he is totally free. Unless there is a contrary appeal. As far as the issue of property ownership that cannot be adequately traced to him is concerned, is free. But on the other hand, the issue of drug and the rest of them may still be ongoing. So, but definitely, who tells you that peradventure anything may not happen along the way on that route? These are the questions we keep asking. If you really want to nail someone, you have to get every evidence to do that. Not that you nail him first today, you'll be looking for evidence against.
Well, now, more broadly, what would you say this case has to say about the accountability within Nigeria's enforcement institutions?
Well, honestly speaking, just like I said earlier on, it is not just the question of enforcement. Rather, it's the question of justice sector. Because you cannot just remove the enforcement. The enforcement is one part. The justice that is meant to be the final bus stop is another part. So as far as the issue of enforcement, yes, the enforcement may not even be the serious problem. But the threat I'm seeing here is the justice. Because if it cannot be adequately and thoroughly dispensed, only God will help a common man on the streets.
I was just going to go to that part too, that if a person like Abba Kyari experiences this, what does this say about the common man getting justice? Because the person we're speaking about is a former, superintendent of the police. So if somebody like this is experiencing this, what hope do we have for the common man?
Yes, we are talking of a high-profile man in the society who passed through this. And this is one of the reasons why a trip to any of the correctional facilities, we actually showed and paints a very horrible picture. We have detainees who have been on trial for more than 10 years, 20 years, and whose cases have not been thoroughly prosecuted. They will still tell you awaiting trials. You need double it. The number of awaiting trials in Nigerian Correctional Service, as we speak, is far more than those that have been convicted. For goodness sake, how can you keep people awaiting trial for 4 or 5 years?
I'm sure there are people who have probably died while waiting for trial. So many of
There are a
them.
lot of issues that have happened. And this is the reason why the justice, the judiciary, that is meant to be the last hope of a common man, seems to be far away from their reach. So if somebody of high profile, of high caliber, of personality, like Abba Kyari can suffer this fate, only God can speak for a common man who might have even have 1 or 2 issues that require thorough dispensation and speedy trial. And unfortunately, such may not happen.
As we wrap up on this particular story, what are some of the reforms that you would say that should happen in the judicial system for things to get better?
Honestly speaking, among other things, just like the provisions in Agile law has been made. Number one, the issue of speedy trial. Under no circumstance should we have a case getting prolonged unnecessarily. For 4 or 5 years is too much, for goodness sake. That is one. Then two, the issue of reforms in the justice sector, especially for cases that doesn't have stands and which at the end of the day is going to cost taxpayers money. Let us not gamble into it, because it's just not waste taxpayers' money, it's waste our time. It really puts doubts on the judicial sector.
Judicial system, yes.
So these are the things we must work on. For the cases that have not been established by the enforcement agencies, let them not bring that and waste the court's time. And last but not the least, just like I said, the reform starts from the beginning. What are we doing to ensure the independency of the judiciary? Especially, there are provisions for the setup of Administration of Criminal Justice Monitoring Committee in the states. This committee will have timely information on the number of prosecutions going on in our courts. They will have information on the number of awaited trials in our correctional services. Even they will have information on the number of arrests made in every police division. Do we have them? Governors are not concerned. It is not their problem. And this is the more reason why we keep living in a country that we cannot thoroughly define and describe.
Thank you very much, Comrade Musa Aliu. Now, while the acquittal of Abba Kyari is being celebrated, we just hope and look forward to what the ruling on this case with the NDLEA would be. Now, moving on to the next story that we have for today. Online activist Very Dark Man recently got into a social media clash with a social media influencer, Michelle, who, after she shared charity project she was working on, revealed that Seyi Tinubu had financially supported some of our projects. VDM questioned this motive and began calling out Seyi Tinubu online, suggesting that the philanthropy probably is being used as a political tool. The drama escalated quickly across social media that even the National Civil Society of Nigeria had to intervene, criticizing Very Dark Man for dragging Seyi Tinubu into the issue. The situation has sparked a lot of debates about activism, influence, and accountability online. Now, the question we are looking into today is from the angle of the Nigerian civil society stepping into this war. What started as an online banter, online war between social media influencers has gotten a group like the Civil Society of Nigeria involved. And it has birthed the question about what groups like this are actually meant for. Are they genuinely protecting the public interest or acting as political tools? Was it right for the organization to get involved in the social media rift between these influencers? This exactly is what we are looking into today. So I'd like to ask you, Comrade Musa Ali, what's your opinion and thought on the whole saga that has been going on for weeks now?
Honestly speaking, the industry, or rather the sector which is supposed to serve as the check and balance on the society, the civil society, honestly speaking, it's quite unfortunate that it has become something else in Nigerian context. And it is not because of anything, it's because when you look at the operators and the actors within the sectors, first of all, anybody can enter into that sector in the name of anything. You can today register your organization as a CSO and start doing whatever you like without being checked. This is the reason why even those in advanced countries don't take Nigerian activists serious, because they believe many of them are there because of the pull of the stomach. Poverty is driving a lot of guys crazy, and they have thought of the ways through which they can parade their trade. So what they believe in is that let us step in under the guise of a CSO. Just like you mentioned, when you look at the online banter between the Very Dark Man and the other parts of it, that's now roping the son of the president, you discover that as a serious people who are meant to be watched on the society, civil society organizations don't have anything to do with that. These are personal issues that at best can be solved in the court of law. If I feel defamed, if somebody drag me unnecessarily online, I go to the court. The law is there is a profession for that. But unfortunately, we keep asking, why is civil society, what kind of time, what kind of models of operandi do they have to now feel that they can intervene in issues happening between 2 or 3 adults
Mm.
that can solve it, that can solve this problem themselves tomorrow? So already they have already dragged the name civil society into ordinarily what is not supposed to be. So just like I said, poverty is a bastard. It is part of the reason why many people can do any sort of things and go scot-free. And I want to tell you, whether you like it or not, this is one of the antics of the power that be that ensures that those who masses can roll to, the civil society, are made to be toothless bulldog. By the time 1 or 2 of them is being paid, then they can do all manner of jobs for those at the helms of the affair. Nobody is saying they've been paid in this case, but the reality is that what is their locus operandi when it comes to issue between 2 people? Why would they have to come? Why we have a lot of issues that call for their attention?
But does this not, probably suggest that maybe, just maybe, speculations of the influencers in question are being used as political tools?
Definitely, whether we like it or not, the influencers, particularly online influencers, are meant to be political, whether we like it or not. But this does not drag the CSOs into such space. The space reserved for CSO is beyond that. It's beyond the issue of, okay, somebody and his wife are having an online banter tomorrow, then let us come in. Does that make sense?
And it's quite sad to see, because I think even before now, so many people are just getting to even know about these CSOs because of these online banters. Beyond what has happened now, would you please just highlight to many people what the roles, the exact roles and responsibilities of CSOs actually are, beyond what they have come out to do?
Thank you very much. Yes, in this case, CSO is not supposed to be there, just like I said. Rather, what the CSOs are meant to do in the society is to serve as the watchdog on government policies, programs, and projects, not individual personalities. And if you want to talk about individual personality, it has to be individual that has direct correlation with impact affecting people at the grassroots. When we say individuals, we may talk of head of agency, head of parastatal. Here in this case, who is head of agency here? But because a situation involves the son of the president, then is it every cases that the CSO must gamble into? Of course, no. We want you to talk, you talk to policies, you talk to issues. Let people understand where the shoe pinches them. But by the time you drag into this, don't be surprised tomorrow. You may have some CSOs going into the reason why the price of tomato is becoming something else, or why the tomato have to spoil in the market. It's because they don't know what they are supposed to do. We have a lot of issues that call for your attention. Under the space you claim to be operating, we have people passing through a lot of things. We have people still being kidnapped as we speak. In all the nooks and crannies of the country, no CSO has ever talked about
those
this
issues.
CSO. If they don't have anything to, let them talk about that. There's a situation whereby you seem to have all the media houses in the country in your front, and the next thing you address is the issue that has nothing to do with your thematic area. It's becoming a very big shame.
I personally, I agree with that. It's so embarrassing to see that that is what, the CSOs have prioritized at a time like this, when Nigeria is going through real issues. Now, generally, let's discuss how, as a society, how do you think we can curb this whole social media activism that goes south? Because I think as a society, we are beginning to normalize certain things that shouldn't be normalized. Like, because when this whole issue between the very dark man and the Mitchell started, we see people even intentionally abusing substances, harmful substances, just to prove a point, trying to do things that are so bizarre and questionable. Yet after a while, there's nobody is brought to book for those acts. And before we know it, this is what begins to build as a culture, especially for young people, because they feel like, okay, if this person does this and there was no punishment, he gets away with it, I can also do it. So what do you think as a society we can do to actually ensure that this doesn't continue, especially amongst young people?
Honestly speaking, the online space in this country needs a lot of regulation, especially on the issues that borders on the people thinking they can do all manners of things and go scot-free. And when you look at what has, yes, the laws are there. We have the cyberspace law, cyber stalking law, and several other laws of that nature. But one thing that must be clear and the sacrosanct is that, is this how other countries are doing things, even online? This is the reason why I keep saying something. As giant of Africa, Nigeria is meant to be the pace setters when it comes to the adoption and the usage, and of course, utilization of technology space. And online space is prominent among them now. You need to look at Nigerians' online space, just have a glue at it. What you be seeing there, the interest of Nigerian young people these days is all in the interest of the, let's say, entertainment, let's say on betting, sports, and several other things, not on innovations and scientific discoveries that are the hallmarks of countries like China. When you go to the online spaces of Chinese, you see what small kids are doing, inventions they are bringing to the board, a lot of things they are doing that showcase what level of intellect do they have. So this is the time for the country, for those at the ends of affair, to work thoroughly. You don't just say because it is against me today, then let me find a way of checkmating it. You need to look at it in the interest of the generality of people of this country. Are we really there? Do we have potentials to be there? Are we on the course of being there?
Hmm. Are we really there? That is a question for us to answer within us. So quickly, just before we go, while we're still talking about accountability, leadership, the former president of Nigeria, Olusegun Obasanjo, made a statement at his 89th birthday party about Nigeria not having prepared leaders, suffering from unprepared leaders. Do you think situations like this VDM Sheyi Tinubu issue, is a part of why a statement like this would be made?
Honestly speaking, it is part of it. Because when you look at the leadership radar of this country, from the presidency to the state governors up to the level of local government, you discover that what we normally have is more of accidental leaders. You see, leadership is not something you wake up and you believe, I can just wear the cloth and go. There is going to be failure. Leadership is meant for those who are prepared to be at the helms of affair, to actually see through what people are passing through. You are not there because of anything. Some people that are vying for leadership, they believe they are there just because they want to fill a space, just because it is their time. But they don't know that where they are is actually meant to be the position of authority. It's meant to be position of influence, where things will be better for the generality of people. I keep saying something. All this jackpot with jackpot abroad, it's not because of anything. It's because they have leadership that works. And they have people that are prepared to be the leader in their own capacities. But rather in Nigeria, do we have that? Yes, no school may teach you leadership. But there are some things you do, there are some steps you take in the society that is going to be part of the landing space for you in the subsequent leadership. When it comes to the leadership formations, we have a lot of things that people are meant to look for. When we are to choose leaders, are we really choosing? Are we looking in that direction? Former President Obasanjo has said it clearly. The greatest problem Nigerian face is the choice of leaders. The greatest problem we have is the choice of leader. And that choice of leader boils down to the issue of, are we really looking for patriotic individuals? Because I see no reason why, as a Nigerian leader, you prefer revenue generation to the welfare of the masses. You prefer revenue generation to the poverty spreading across the land. You prefer revenue generation to the impact that foreign influence will have on your country. Look at what happened. A war between US and Iran has given room for the fuel price in Nigeria to increase. To only God know what. Is that normal? Where are the leaders that are meant to actually work on early warning of this nature? To ensure that they buffer the effects of whatever is coming from outside world to the people of the country. This is what marks a leader. Leadership is not just because I have mouth, I can manipulate my way to the what? To the office. It's all about, are you really making it? And I don't blame them. You see, everybody in Nigerian leadership space today, they have mastered one heart, the heart of using poverty to lure the people of the country.
Weaponizing poverty.
They believe no matter how small you are or how big you are, you must have a price. So to those at the community level, they believe their own price is a spaghetti and a cup of rice close to the election. If you are a little bit enlightened, they know if you are, let's say, like an upcoming young guy, highest they give you is a data board. Be paying you 30,000 naira every month, then you are doomed. Then if you are getting to 50 or what have you, the next thing they do is that let us look for one office or small thing, throw small thing to him, then it's blocked. So you can see how the poverty is spread. But what we are talking about, can't we build institutions? Institutions help people to grow. That is the reason our people are traveling to other countries, because their institutions work for them. Why are our institutions not working? When I say institutions, it starts from the government offices up to every level of government. Institution starts from, okay, I can work without being harassed. Institution starts when I can finish universities, and of course, there is this space for me. If I want to go into the business, there is a way I can transit into that seamlessly. If I want to look for paid job, there is a way I can go into that. If there is any form of discrepancies in what I do, so these are what institutions. These are what Nigerians are looking for abroad. If I need infrastructure, it is always there. If I need support, it is there. Are we really doing that? So it boils down to the question of lack of patriotism.
Lack of patriotism. But I want to ask this question, especially with the fact that this statement was coming from a personality like former President Olusegun Obasanjo. Would you say that the previous leaders actually gave the right foundation for the leadership of Nigeria to actually thrive?
Well, honestly speaking, when you look at it, particularly from the independence to date, we have a lot of leaders that have tried their best. Mind you, the First Republic was started because of poor leadership. Yes, we cannot have 100% efficient leadership structure. Even abroad, it is not. But one thing they believe in is that the institution of the country must work above any other thing. The institutions matters. And if you look at all the leaders, let me be frank with you, everybody will tell you that I've done my best now. In fact, I look for successful for you. But the successor you are looking, you are putting in place, are they really the right person? Even you yourself that was there, were you the right person for us? Or we have what the system throws at the people of the country? These are the things we have to look into.
Is it now safe to say that leadership would continue to be a problem for us as Nigerians?
You see, leadership will keep going the way it is. Let us be frank. It will never change.
Wow.
Until the people of this country stand on their feet and demand for accountability. It is the citizens. US cannot do it for you. UK will never do it for you. Because in their own country, didn't you hear what they've been telling Nigerians over there? They will tell you, go back to your country. Go and do your country well. Don't come here. Over here in South Africa, that is what they normally tell Nigerians. Go back to your country. We work for our country to be where it is. That is the reason you people are coming here. You go back to your country, go and work on it. Is anybody ready to do that?
Well, I think that is a good place for us to leave today's conversation, because at the end of the day, it all boils down to individuals as, coming together as a people. Nigeria is not going to change until we all take on that sense of responsibility, knowing that Nigeria is for us all, and accountability begins with each and every one of us. Thank you so much, Comrade Musa Ali, for joining us on today's conversation. It's always a great time with you, as always. Thank you for your inputs.
It's my pleasure. You have my day, any day, anytime. Thank you for having me once again.
Thank you so much, sir. And to all our viewers, there you have it. That is all we can take on today's episode of Behind the Reality podcast. We've been able to talk about accountability, responsibility, and leadership in Nigeria. The problems of Nigeria would never go away until we all come together hand in hand to ensure that we build the Nigeria of our dream. My name is Betty Do, and it's been my pleasure being your host on today's episode of the podcast. Till I see you again, same platform, of course, at UrbanPop Radio. I want you to keep being engaged, keep being informed, and do your part in making Nigeria great again. Until then, bye for now.